worry about a bulky brace?
Oh, it feels great. It feels great being able to unrestricted hold Shay and help out around the house, and obviously the football side, like work out and throw. I'm able to do all that now, and I'm getting there, which feels really good.
What exactly is the plan as far as you can, as much as you can explain,
Yeah.
as far as your return to play right now and what you are able to do right now?
Well, I mean, there's not really a set like deadline on it, just because we don't play a game till this fall. So obviously, I'm going to be ready sooner than that. But so I'm very optimistic. I'll be perfectly good for the season. But as far as just right now, I think just kind of pacing ourselves as OTAs go, and working myself up to where I'm in shape as far as throwing, and so just I guess the amount of throws might be a little lighter to start and work our way up just until I get really fully back. But I imagine that, and then maybe just some handoff stuff will be a little limited. But besides that, I think that won't last too long. So I don't have
But you are throwing, right?
Yeah, I'm throwing, and obviously I'm kind of progressing and working my way up further distance, more throws, just trying to be smart and not just jump off the into the deep end right away, just trying to work up to it.
How do you feel to see most of the guys kind of back in the building, get the team back together?
Feels great. Just the energy in the building, I've been here a lot just because of rehab and stuff, and trying to get my shoulder healthy. And so I've been around this offseason a lot more than maybe even typically. So just to have all the guys back in the building just bring some energy and some juice. And I know from a player standpoint, everybody's excited. Everybody in the locker room's pumped to be back. And then the coaching side, you can feel the energy and the excitement, and those guys are up here working all off season trying to get everything ready, so they're chomping at the bit by the time we get in, because they get to actually do what they love and coach and have the players around. So I think there's a good balance of just everybody's excited and very optimistic and a lot of energy.
Coach Coen talked a little bit about working with you on your footwork. Can you
Yeah.
talk about what that kind of looks like, what that means, and just some slight tweaks along the way?
Yeah, just there's some things that there's some things I've known about my footwork over the years of playing that I felt like have been a little bit of a weakness. So there's some things that we've talked about of just what are those things? What are we identifying as things to excuse me as things to work on? And then the system is built around timing and tying your feet to your progression and playing on time, and so it allows you to get backside, allows you to get to check downs or whatever it may be, and you can feel comfortable playing on time. And more than any system I've ever learned, it's structured and based on that, and it's so everything's tied exactly to, all right, this route is on this timing, so then your next progression is off of this footwork, off this timing, so it all ties in perfect. You don't have multiple routes declaring at the same time, which is hard as a quarterback, because then you're sitting back there and you got to make a decision before really the guy's open or covered, So I think they've done a really good job with this system of really thinking through how does it tie into a quarterback's feet, and that's what we've been talking about. And it takes some work, and flipping my stance, just some little things like that are small that many people wouldn't notice, but it is. I have so many banked reps of the other way. I got to just get all these on my own and work them. So once camp comes around, I'm ready to go.
So it sounds like you really like the new system so far.
I do. I think it's. I really believe in it. I believe in the process. Obviously it's early, but as far as just what the main, I guess, priorities are going to be for us, and how they see the game and our offense, what we want to build it around, like all those things, I'm in alignment with. I think just the few things that we've talked about as far as syncing the feet to the progressions and to all these things is really important as a quarterback. I think I'm going to be able to play even faster and get through progressions and feel confident and trust that.
What have you learned from Liam and maybe Dave Gladstone that is a little bit different from maybe previous regime? What have you learned about them, and how different is it around here now?
It's a lot different. I think it's hard to compare. Just the energy, and obviously younger guys. It's just a different setup than we've had in the past. Not to say, one thing or the other. It is very different, and I think all around the coaching staff too is majority younger guys. But the one thing I will say is everyone is in alignment, and it's the same message, and it's very clear of what's being preached and what the culture is going to be about for our team, and the messaging is crystal clear. And I think that's obviously important. And even starting with James, haven't spent as much time with him, but obviously I've got to talk to him and really enjoyed that. But from him all the way through the whole staff it's all the same. And I think that's a great starting point for us. Obviously, time will tell, and we have to win on the field. That's the most important. But I like where we're at.
As you talk about
to not have, or are you or other guys frustrated? Like, we got to go through another coaching change, another new system. Like, how desperate are you guys for just like some 4, 5, 6 year stability?
Yeah, it's challenging for sure. But I think we're past that point as far as, I don't know if frustration is the right word, but just starting over is always hard. And obviously, we had a good year in 22, and then things just turned on us over time, unfortunately, and didn't play well enough and didn't win enough games the last 2 years, and we found ourselves in this position. So I think going from that to where we were at, and obviously not having a coach, and now we have Liam, and I'm past that point of feeling like, golly, you got to start over again. But I mean, just to be honest, there is a little bit of that at first, because it is, you're doing it again, and you've done it before, and you've done it a few times. So there's a little bit of that at first, but I think we're way past that. I know guys are really excited. I'm really excited. I'm just excited to learn this system and to dive in and put as much work in as I can to have a great year. And I have a lot of confidence in the group that we have here. I'm sure after the draft, the team's going to change even more and what they're doing upstairs and down in the locker room. Like, I really believe in what we're doing, and so I think that's where the excitement comes from. Seeing what was said initially and how it's being carried out, I think is exciting for me, because you're seeing that they're doing all the things that you wanted them to do and that they said they'd do from the beginning. So it's exciting.
Since you referenced the energy, can you see a difference, since you've known him now for 4 years, but with Tony now being in the role that he's in? Is there a difference? Because I know Liam talked about how there was a culture meeting, not just with the team, but with the entire staff in every department.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Tony for a while now. Obviously, he has that role, so it's part of his job description for, I wouldn't say just his opinion, but for his input, with the staff, with the team, and he's way more involved than he was before. But I knew we've had brief conversations throughout the years, and I could always tell that Tony had a lot on his mind, for one, and had a lot that, he might not have been in the role to voice all that, but just on our brief interactions, we've had a great relationship, and I feel like could always be honest with him, and we've been very candid with each other over the years, and it's been brief, but it's nice seeing him in that role and being a former player and sitting in our seats and how much he cares about this team. That's why he does it. He's a guy that, I wouldn't say it was probably his lifelong dream to be in that role since he was a kid. Like, he's been a player, and he wants to see this team be great and this city be better too. And I think that's what's cool about it, is he's doing it from that standpoint, not for any other reason.
Trevor, diving into a new system now for the first time as like a dad, how do you balance now having to know the difference between a cry when they have to get changed, or they're teething, or they're hungry? How do you balance having all of that new stuff to know and then doing this, getting used to a new system for the first time?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, because when you're home, it's not as much, you're not just sitting around doing nothing and have all that time necessarily. In some ways you have more time, I think, because you make less plans. Just being a dad, it's like you don't have as many plans to go out and do stuff or take trips or whatever. So I think just in between, when she's down for naps, trying to get into the stuff as much as I can, start with formations, motions, all that stuff, just the base stuff, and then starting with some of the concepts and stuff now. And we're going to start installing more as a team that we're back in OTAs. So we have this set time here now, which is nice, and get to talk with the guys through it. But yeah, no, it's definitely different. You got to manage your time well, and also you got to be able to audible and adjust, because Shay wakes up and it's not, hold on, I need like 10 more minutes to finish this. It's right then. So it's an adjustment, but thankfully I got a great wife and Shay's mom, Marissa, to help me with that. She does more than I do, so I can't complain.
Do you find it easier, maybe, since this is your third NFL playbook, just to learn to absorb all of this stuff since you've sort of done it over the last couple of years?
Yeah, there's some things, you're used to finding ways to like make everything stick. I think the hard part is when you hear things that are the same words that mean something different. Like, you got a lot of systems that kind of go through your head, and you got to really differentiate it everything and find a way to learn it that way. I think that's maybe the only more challenging part, knowing multiple systems. But for the most part, I think the formations and motions, all the basic stuff, like that was really hard for me to learn my rookie year, and the play calls, the length, all that stuff, because I just wasn't used to any of it. Now being in multiple systems, like that's a lot. That comes more second nature, and it's easier to pick up.
Have you talked to Baker at all about playing for Liam, what Liam kind of did for him, etc.?
I haven't yet. You know, I know Baker. I wouldn't say well, but we're buddies, and every time I see him, you know, we try to catch up, talk. I really got a lot of respect for him. I haven't got a chance to yet, but I need to. I've heard through other people that I've talked to Baker at different things throughout the offseason that he's just says great things about him and how much he helped him, and said I'm going to love playing for him. So I've kind of heard that through, I guess, mutual friends and stuff.
How tough is it going to be this season without Christian and Evan, not just on the field, but those were your friends? Like,
yeah,
hung out with those guys a lot.
It's tough. Yeah, it's hard. You know, you build relationships with guys, and you know, unfortunately, I've seen those two guys are a little different because we spent 3 years together, and I guess the majority of my time here, besides my rookie year. So it's hard seeing guys go. It's part of the business, unfortunately. You know, it's just you got to kind of take it for what it is and move on, honestly. But the relationship piece of it will always be there. You know, we built special relationships and friendships that thankfully will last outside of this being on the same team. You know, so I think that's the good thing about it, because there's certain people, you know, when they leave, it's like, oh, that was my guy, but you kind of lose touch a little bit. But those are two guys that will always stay in touch. We'll be close friends, and obviously wish nothing but the best for him, except for twice a year with Christian, and I think we play the Broncos this year too. So once for Evan. So no, those guys, they do it the right way, and obviously it's disappointing they're not here. Obviously there's a lot that goes into this other than just than friendships and relationships, and you know, that part is always going to be hard. But over the years, you kind of get used to, you know, dealing with all that stuff. And I talk to those guys a lot still, so we're keeping in touch.
Trevor, I asked Boye this. I'm not going to tell you his answer just yet until you answer it. But over the weekend, local guy Demario Douglas surprised his mom with a new car. Did you do anything like that when getting drafted or under your rookie contract or anything like that?
Nothing that big, not yet. There's stuff I like to keep private, but no, I haven't done the car yet or anything. That's awesome.
You said at your season-ending press conference, I'm trying to remember, it was obviously after Doug was gone. I forgot if Trent was gone yet, but you said that you felt that a concerted effort to run the ball was needed, and that was what was lacking the last 2 to 3 years. Do you feel like there are steps that have been taken and that are being taken to rectify that?
Definitely, 100%. You know, I think it's not only just trying to run the ball. It's what's the plan. I think everyone tries to run the ball. I think everybody knows in football that's important. I mean, if you know football at all, you know that's important. So I think everybody knows that, but just from the little that we've gotten into, the plan to run the ball well, effectively, efficiently, the way we can adapt throughout games, throughout the season, figuring out what we're good at. Naturally, we're going to be better at certain things than we are at others. Those things, how you determine what the defense is going to do, how you see what they're doing to get yourself in the best play. There's just so much stuff that I'm excited to learn and get into that is kind of new for me. And it's more, I think, right now for us, it's going to be more to learn. It's going to be more work put in for all the guys of got to learn the system, because it's a tough system to learn, but it's going to help us play faster. It's going to help us be in the right play more than we're not. It's going to set us up for success, but you got to put the time in and study.
Not having Kirk or Evan, those gaps of friendship and stuff, but how do you adjust without them now? Do you hope that you have some more targets coming in soon, or how do you adjust to losing them?
I've learned throughout this my time here, just you can't control who's here, who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, who's going to get traded, who's going to get released. You don't know any of that really, and those are decisions that are not in my realm. So from what we have here right now, I know those guys, and obviously Diami's a new guy, and we got Hunter and Johnny, two new tight ends as well. I know what we have to work with, and I'm sure there'll be additions from the draft. Who knows what those are going to be. But I like what we have, to be honest. Obviously, losing Christian and Evan are two big losses. So I think we got some good guys in free agency, and I'm sure we'll supplement in the draft as well. But it's a different system, so it's hard to compare apples to apples of what their usage is going to be in this system, and kind of it's just really hard to compare because they're two totally different offenses. So I really like I said, Diami and the speed, and obviously Brian is. I thought he had some great experience last year with all the injuries we had of having to just step up, and everyone knew we're targeting Brian, and he's going to get majority of the targets, and he still shined and played well and produced every game. So that was great practice for him because that's what's going to happen now that he's shown that the rest of his career. So I really like where we're at. Obviously, we're going to keep getting better. We're going to add pieces, but yeah, it's kind of a hard question to answer. I hope that helped.
Two more. Seems like Britton's role is going to increase, expand this year. What have you seen from him last year, and even since he got drafted? Just he's ready for this.
Britton is beyond ready. Just the way he practices, the way he works. I think I do give a lot of credit to Evan. I think Britton's a hard worker naturally, but coming in and being behind Evan and having that kind of guy to look up to, and as far as Evan's work ethic and being out there early, staying late, putting in all the extra time, I think Britton really fell in line with that and has kept that going. So that piece of it makes you feel really good about him because he's doing everything the right way. And then obviously his talent on the field. I mean, he's a great blocker. He's nasty, physical, likes blocking. Like that's something that he's good at and likes doing. And then when he gets the ball in his hands, breaks tackles, he can run, great hands, he's physical. He really can do everything you need him to do. So I think he's beyond ready for this opportunity. And that's the give and take, right? You're disappointed, and the thing with Evan, losing a friend, losing a great player, but Britton gets an opportunity to step up even more, which he did a lot at times last year. So he's gonna do great, and I'm just excited to keep building that relationship with him.
How much do you feel like you put on your shoulders over the last couple of years, both mentally and physically, just feeling like you might have had to make a play here and there versus maybe now with the new coaching staff, how they're talking about emphasizing the ground attack, all the different things that can kind of take that off of you? How do you sort of compare the two?
Yeah, it's there was definitely times I did that, and I wouldn't say that's part of playing quarterback. You have those feelings sometimes, and you got to be able to play the game the right way at all times and make those calculated risk decisions, whatever it may be. That there'll be times to do those too, but no matter the offense, you're going to have those situations come up where it's like you might feel like you need to make a play, but you don't. Just make the smart play. It depends. It's all situational based, right? If it's fourth down, if it's 4th and 10 at the end of the game, then that's different. You're throwing into traffic. You're trying to make something happen. But that's part of playing quarterback, and I've grown a lot over the years of learning when's the right time to take those risks, when isn't, when's it worth it. But you're always going to have that. But the hope and the plan is to have less of those because you're on schedule. You make the game easier. I think when you think of QB friendly, it's what's the game plan, how you call it, what's the sequence of the calls, how the game flow goes, all those things. Like that's what I think helps a QB out in this league. It's honestly, it is just hard to drop back every play and make it happen because the pass rush is so good, the disguises are so good, and it's just hard. So I think the more variety you can have just helps you as an offense.